Have you ever met someone who seemed to be doing everything possible to make you leave right when you were finally starting to get close to them? Maybe they picked a fight out of nowhere. Maybe they went cold after a good date. Maybe they said something a little too harsh, a little too on purpose, like they were testing whether you'd stick around or run. If you've ever done this yourself or watched someone you love do it, stay with me for the next few minutes, because this is one of the strangest and most human contradictions there is. We are wired to crave connection, and yet some of us become experts at sabotaging it the moment it starts to feel real. Let's start with the obvious question. Why would anyone push away the very thing they want? It sounds backwards, almost self-destructive, but psychologically it makes a strange kind of sense once you understand what's actually happening underneath. The first reason is fear of abandonment, and this one runs deeper than most people realize. Psychologists who study attachment, going back to the work of John Bowlby, found that our earliest relationships teach us what to expect from closeness. If someone learned early on that people leave, that love is unreliable, or that getting close to someone always ends in loss, their nervous system quietly decides that the safest move is to leave first. It's not logical, but it's protective. Pushing someone away before they can hurt you feels, in a strange way, like control. The second reason is low self-worth disguised as independence. Some people genuinely believe somewhere deep down that they aren't worth staying for. So when someone shows real interest, real care, it doesn't feel comforting, it feels suspicious. The mind starts asking, what do they actually see in me? And instead of sitting with that discomfort, it's easier to create distance before the other person figures it out and leaves anyway. The third reason is something researchers call rejection sensitivity. Psychologist Mark Leary's work on this showed that some people are so hyper-aware of even the slightest signs of disinterest that they overreact to things that aren't really there. A delayed text, a shorter reply, a joke that lands wrong, and suddenly their brain treats it like a 5-alarm fire. So they pull back first, they get distant first, purely as a preemptive strike against a rejection that may never have even been coming. The fourth reason, and this one is sneaky, is emotional overwhelm. Sometimes people don't push others away because they don't care. They push people away because they care too much, too fast, and it terrifies them. Intimacy can feel like exposure. Someone getting close means someone getting to see the parts you usually keep hidden. And for a person who has never felt safe being fully seen, that vulnerability can feel unbearable. Distance becomes a way to breathe. The fifth reason connects to something psychologists call a negative self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe relationships always end badly, you will unconsciously behave in ways that make that outcome more likely. You test people, you provoke them, you wait to see if they'll prove you right. And the tragic irony is, the pushing away often causes the very abandonment the person feared in the first place, which then reinforces the belief that people always leave. It becomes a loop. The sixth reason is a need for control in situations that otherwise feel unpredictable. Relationships, by nature, are uncertain. You cannot control how someone feels about you, how long they'll stay, or what they're thinking. For people who struggle with uncertainty, especially those who've experienced chaotic or unpredictable environments growing up, emotional distance can feel like reclaiming a sense of power. If you're the one deciding when things end, it hurts less than being blindsided. The seventh, and maybe the most quietly heartbreaking one, is unresolved grief or past trauma that hasn't been processed. Sometimes people aren't reacting to the person in front of them at all. They're reacting to someone from years ago, an old wound that never fully closed. A new relationship can unconsciously reopen old pain, and instead of dealing with it, it feels safer to keep everyone at arm's length, including people who had absolutely nothing to do with what happened before. What's fascinating and honestly a little sad is that almost none of this is really about the other person. It's rarely "I don't like you" and almost always some version of "I don't know how to let you stay." The people who push others away the hardest are often the ones who want closeness the most. They just never learned how to tolerate it without feeling like they're in danger. And maybe that's the real takeaway here. The next time someone pulls away right when things start feeling good, or the next time you catch yourself doing it, it's worth asking what's really being protected. Because more often than not, it's not indifference at all. It's fear wearing the mask of distance.